Saludos a todos. Mi nombre es Josué Rincon. Hi, everybody. My name is Josh Rincon. I'm excited to be with you guys today. This is Avance Latino News. And
You're very excited.
yeah. I don't know. I was a little too excited right there. But I want to start off with something that we can talk about as a family. If you are watching with your family, si tienen sus hijos con ustedes ahorita, que hablar como familia de finanzas. So let's talk about as a family. As parents, if you're parents or future parents, you want to be parents in the future, whatever. How do you talk about money with your kids? How do you talk about that good old money, like that picture, or showing those kids with all that cash, all that money? How do you make them understand finances? How do you make them understand bills? How do you make them understand everything?
You make them play Monopoly.
Hey, that's a good one. That's a good one. That could have been one of the
I feel
tips.
like I always lost that game though. So I don't know if that means anything, but I lost all the time.
Yeah, it's a good game to play, Monopoly. But I want to start with a couple of points here. So, the first thing you could do to help your kids understand money, para que les puedan ayudar, is involve them in the shopping experience. Meaning, when you go grocery shopping, take your kids with you. But before you even take them to go shopping for groceries, set up a list. Hopefully you do this. Hopefully you set up a list of what you gotta buy. I gotta buy eggs. I gotta buy this, and that. And as you're doing that, do it with your kids and remind them. What else do we need to buy? Oh, mommy, we need to buy orange juice. We need to buy soy milk because we don't.
Skittles.
We need to buy ice cream. Which reminds me, I bought some today. I forgot. So yeah. So when you do that, this helps them see the difference between wants and needs. Mommy, I want Cheetos. Por favor, mommy, cómprame Oreos. You'll see that they'll understand a huge concept which called wants versus needs. They can't get anything they want, all right? Which is going to open their eyes to see like, oh, shoot. And they're going to see how expensive it is, groceries. It's expensive. Everything's getting even more and more expensive. And we're kind of going to talk about that later too, Second thing, how do you explain the concept of working for money, okay? You got to explain to them the concept of working for money. What does that look like? With chores, with tasks you make them do. I don't know how old your kids are, if they're 5-year-olds, if they're 12-year-olds. You could do the same thing for all ages. You make them, all right, you're gonna mow the lawn if they're older, or you're gonna clean the restroom, or you're gonna do this or that, and then pay him a certain amount. Obviously you're not gonna pay him that minimum wage. It's expensive, right? Or actually, because you guys are gonna go broke. Minimum wage is going up. It's gonna be close to $20. Fast food places are $20 now. Pretty crazy. So let's just say you're paying $5 for that. So now they understand wants and the needs. Number 2, they'll understand the meaning behind working for your money. Number 3, you sit down with them and you create a budget. You look at all the expenses, but you make it like in a way that they can understand them more. Maybe you don't want to scare them and be like, oh yeah, for health insurance, I pay $1,000 a month for you. You're super expensive, But maybe something else. Maybe you just like, oh, just keep it simple. Like, how much we spend in toys for you? Oh, we're spending $200. Let's lower that. That's too much. So a budget with them. So 3 things so far. Take them shopping, not for toys, not for whatever they want. Grocery shopping. Number 2, do work for their money so they can understand the concept of they need to work, the value of working for their money. Number 3 is creating a budget with them, no matter their age. If they're about to go to college, they better know how to budget, because they're gonna get access to a lot of money. Whether it's grants, with scholarships, and sometimes even loans, people treat as like income, and they don't understand the difference between income and loans, and they treat it exactly the same. They use that money for Disney passes. They use it to crazy stuff that you don't use loans for. You don't use a loan to buy a Disney pass.
You forgot probably one of the most important tips. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
What?
There's number 4 is follow Avance Latino News. Oh my goodness.
Of course.
Follow Avance Latino on Instagram, on Facebook. Give us a like and give us a comment. That's going to help your kid too.
If you're watching now, share with your family. You're going to learn a lot.
That should be number 1. What the heck?
Yeah, that should be number 1. Yeah, that's right. Avance Latino News. Check us out. Follow us. Share it. The last one is teach them about credit in a simple way. Especially if they're like in their teens, you could actually open a custodial account underneath yours so they can start building credit. Maybe you don't even give them the card themselves, but you hold on to it. And sometimes when you guys go out, you can be like, we're going to use your card today, okay? Boom, swipe it. Obviously pay it off, make your monthly payments, etc. Don't keep it balanced. This is going to help them for two things: understand credit and build their credit. That way, by the time they're 18, their credit is pretty good and they have a good credit history. There's little things like that they don't teach us in school that if my parents would have done that, my credit would have been even better. Imagine. Yeah. My credit right now is at 300. I'm just kidding.
I wonder if you could do just Apple Pay too. You know, like, okay, I'm going to give you, you know how everyone uses Apple Pay Venmo? Is like use that since almost everywhere you could use contact. But you're trying to do credit scores, so never mind, it's different.
But you could use that Apple Pay and Venmo for the other concepts. You could apply it. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you do these little things for your kids, they're going to be in a much better place. They know concept about credit, budgeting, wants versus needs, and working for your money. They'll be set for life. Well, obviously, there's other stuff. You got to discipline your kids. You got to make sure, you know, their values and all that. But financially, they'll be good in that sense. Now, talking about the next thing. Houses. What's going on with them houses? Who's trying to buy a house? ¿Quién quiere comprar una casa antes que se termine este año? Who's trying to buy a house? Comment down below. I want to know. Who bought a house this year? This is what Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is a world-renowned, I guess you would call it like a hedge fund, okay? They got a lot of traders, investors that manage a lot of money. And here's the thing with Goldman Sachs. It's a very respected company. And they're saying in this past year, houses have risen up 20%. They think they will continue to rise another 16% by the end of 2022. So by the end of next year, houses are only going to continue going up, according to them. Now, keep in mind, take this all for a grain of salt. You know, people can get stuff wrong, and they have gotten stuff wrong. But when people like Goldman Sachs say this type of stuff, these people are buying houses. They know what they're getting themselves into, and they project 16%. So basically what we saw this year, we're going to probably see it again next year, another 16-20%. Just to give you guys a little, like, what does that mean for someone that has a house that's $800,000? If your house is roughly $800,000 worth value right now, that means it would go up another $128,000. So that's literally the wealth gap. That's literally the wealth gap right there.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the difference between, like, every time I hear like, oh, why did the rich keep getting richer? Is because they hold assets.
That's why.
And that's like the best way that you can beat inflation is sometimes quiero comprar un carro, quiero comprar esto, pero una de las mejores maneras que una familia, una pareja, es comprar una casa y keep it for as long as possible, and you'll see the price. Like, I remember when my parents first bought the house to what the value of this house is. Of course, we remodeled it and stuff like that, but like it has gone up a lot since they first bought it over 20 years ago, I believe.
Yep. And even crazier, hasta nuestros vecinos que vivían atrás de nosotros.
Oh,
los coreanos.
Asians next to us.
They probably sold their house for probably 800,000, 700 to 800, I'm thinking, but they bought it for 45,000.
I could buy a house if it was 40,000.
Compraron su casa por casi $50,000. Se vendieron por casi $1,000,000.
Wow.
Imagínense. So, yeah, definitely houses. Any sort of asset. You buy your assets before liabilities, and that's what pays your liabilities.
A new Mustang is an asset?
Mustang? If you rent it on Turo, it could become an asset. Yeah. You make some money and it pays for your... The loan is the liability. The car can be an asset. That's the difference, you know? Mm-hmm. A house is an asset, but the mortgage is a liability. So, knowing the difference.
A new Gucci bag?
Heck no, that is not an asset. Nope. But because of... We'll
maybe
talk about
collectibles.
And there's shortages and a lot of stuff. So, maybe it did go up a little bit in value. But most people keep it. They don't sell it.
Yeah.
Now, that's all important to know, guys. If you're going to buy a house, if you're not going to buy a house, whatever it is, maybe you're like, oh, I plan to buy a house in a year from now.
Yeah.
Look into this. But this can save you thousands of dollars. What were you going to say?
But for me, like, when I see this is the importance of, like, saving my money. And eventually, I know right now it seems almost impossible, but I know eventually down the line, I'll be able to own a house because it's only going to bring in more value. My money isn't just going to be thrown away. And eventually... with inflation always, since I think my parents were young, it's only gone up prices.
Yeah.
So this idea that it's not going to continue going up, I'm throwing my money away if I pay so much for a house. I don't know. I sometimes see this and I'm like, if every year it keeps going up even just 5%, that's a good return after 20 years.
No, yeah. That's kind of like there's gonna be some little corrections along the way, but it's only gonna continue going up, especially because in California, I mean, I don't know if it will change in the future. They're really pushing in California for no more single family homes to build other.
What does that mean though?
That means that houses, the normal houses, the single family homes, like my parents' house, which is the normal single family homes, since there's going to be less building of those, they're going to be building more like multi-units, or they call ADUs. For example, they're allowing for people to use their garages and renovate it and turn it into a unit so they can rent out. And then they could do a little addition in the backyard. So that's 2 units on top of the house. So that's what they're building, more townhouses, condos. So there's good and bad in this, we got to see what's going to happen in the future. But what's the amazing thing about this is that people that right now own single family homes, if they're not going to build more of these, they're only going to skyrocket, because if there's less amount of them, they're valued at a higher price, even more than before. So obviously things can change. A lot of, maybe they see, okay, we got to start building more single family homes. We don't know, but we'll see. So I see Grace aquí comentó que she said that her daughter, she has a daughter. I mean, yeah, she has a daughter, but her 14-year-old daughter has her own credit card, and I make her pay the card with her money that she earns working for me. Good job, Grace. Good job.
That's the perfect step. Perfect way of doing it.
That's a testimonial. That's really great. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So moving on from houses, next thing, saving money, and this is important to save money and all that, right? Now, a big mistake that people make when putting where to put their emergency fund. So if you don't know what an emergency fund is, it's when you save 6 to 12 months of monthly expenses. So let's just say it's like $10,000 to $20,000. I would think for most people, somewhere around there. Keep in mind 6 to 12 months of expenses. That's why it's 10 to 20 grand, right? Most people keep that money into a regular savings account. Regular savings account on average, and a traditional in-person bank pays 0.13% in interest. Nothing. Inflation is more than that, especially this year. So what are some alternatives? Now, I don't want to tell you guys to take your emergency fund and invest it into the stock market. Then you're missing out on the point of an emergency fund. Emergency fund is separate from your investments. Leave your investments alone. Emergency fund is the type of money you need. If you have an emergency tomorrow, you don't have to sell your stocks. You don't have to wait a couple of days for it to clear. No, you take it out right away. So what are some alternatives? There's online savings accounts that literally pay 5 times more than a traditional LA bank. There's a bunch of them. Wealthfront. There's a lot of alternatives for online savings. There's money market accounts. There's high yield savings accounts that pay even more. Keep in mind, they're all FDIC insured. It's always important to make sure.
What is that?
Because what FDIC insured means is the FDIC is an entity from the government that will insure up to $250,000. If that bank that you put, let's say you put it into Bank of America, and they have an online savings account, and they close, they go bankrupt, it's FDIC insured. If you have $250,000, the government will back that money and give you that money. It's not going to be like, oh my God, they got bankrupt, my money's all in there. But if you have $250,000 with $1, there's a chance that that extra dollar might not go to you, So that's why it's good not to go over that limit. Maybe, have it in multiple places. Now, Junior, do you know, I know there's a lot of like stable coins and cryptos that pay an interest and all that, but the only thing is they're not FDIC insured.
No, and that's where they're trying to do next. Yeah, I feel like the next move is, especially if they want to call themselves stable coins, is that. And I think that's what's going to get regulated a lot, because there's this one example of an online banking. It's called Celsius, and their yield return,
like 12, huh?
Well, here in the U.S. it's around 5, 8, around there. But outside the U.S., like in Canada and I believe in England and Australia, it's like 15, 16%. But it's here in the U.S. they don't allow that. And yeah, they're trying to. I feel like once it gets regulated, they're suspecting it'll be like around 5 max. But that's still really good. Like, if anybody wants like a good return on the stock return, 5% every year is a good return. It's a good investment. It's not bad. Yeah, it's like instead of leaving it in the basic traditional
0.13.
It's just funny, and you put it into something like this, the newer modern banking way of thinking about it is like, oh yeah, it's safe, and like you said, I can get it right now when I need it, and I don't have to worry about selling or figuring out who to call next.
No, yeah, that might be an alternative, and it might be coming soon where it's
Yeah.
FDIC insured.
Yeah.
And all the other alternatives that I showed you guys, your bank probably has it. You just have
Yeah.
to ask. They probably have it. They have CDs too, but just keep in mind most places right now
What's a
because
CD? Like those old
a
CDs?
certificate of deposit.
Oh.
Sorry guys, I'm
Oh
sorry.
my
I'm talking
goodness.
like I know you guys know everything about finances, but yeah, CD is another option. But right now they're not.
I have a
paying
lot of
as much.
CDs.
Yeah, not the actual CD. You ask your bank of what a CD is, and they'll explain it to you. But, and going to the next topic, hablando con la próxima cosa, estamos hablando de este tweet, este hashtag que está haciendo trending ahorita. It's empty shelves
Frijoles?
Joe. Oh. Empty shelves Joe.
What's that? Frijoles? Coffee bean?
So, I don't know. That's beans or something. But there's a hashtag that's trending right now. It's called, it says empty shelves Joe.
Really?
Joe Biden, that's what it means because he's the president.
Oh,
But
shipping supply.
because of the supply chain crisis and what's to come for this holiday season. No, mucha gente no sabe esto, pero hay un supply chain crisis que está pasando ahorita. Personas que no quieren trabajar, truck drivers que no quieren trabajar, los shipping containers que están acumulando billones de dólares y todos los costos están subiendo. ¿Y qué pasa cuando eso pasa? Los precios. Hasta aquí están diciendo que expertos están warning que toys de juguetes para niños pueden subir a más de 10% en este holiday season. That's a lot. Wow. That's a lot of money, especially if you buy a lot of gifts. 10% is a lot.
I was reading, estaba leyendo que supuestamente we're almost backed up to like 6 months. So they were saying if there's like goods that have an expiration date, like by the time those get unloaded off, they're already like 6 months behind. Plus, they still need to ship them to wherever they're going to distribute it to. So it's going to be like some stores are worried that they're going to get a lot of stuff that is about to expire and be like, I can't sell this. I need to sell this by like the end of this week.
Sell it for discount.
Yeah, so
we'll be there.
And they're going to lose money. So they're almost like, what are they going to do? So that's going to be very interesting because I think they said up to 6 months some of the stuff they're behind. That's crazy.
Lo que está pasando ahorita en el mundo es que apenas estamos viendo los efectos de COVID. Apenas.
It takes a
it's
while.
The tip of the iceberg. I don't want to scare you guys and make you feel like the world's in the end, but let's be realistic. You know, this pandemic has affected, and it's been a lot of, like uncertainty. But now we're seeing that we're finally going out of the pandemic. All right, what happened financially? Stock market, real estate, cars, used cars, new cars, supply chain, workers. Workers have more power today, more than their employers. Way more. If they don't want to work, they simply quit. 4.3 million people quit last month, their job.
What is it called? The Great Resignation?
The Great Resignation. People are quitting. If they don't like the job, if they don't want to give them benefits, they don't want to give them raises, I quit.
All right, I'm going to quit Avance Latino.
Which is cool. Which is cool for the workers. We should go on strike. For the workers, because it allows them to negotiate a better, but it affects small businesses.
Yeah.
Terribly.
Do you remember the story? You told me about it, about what's happening in Cane's.
Oh, yeah.
Cane's restaurant?
Eso es lo que está pasando en Cane's. Cane's es como Chick-fil-A. Ellos tienen 750 trabajadores que trabajan como para sus oficinas. Ellos no cocinan ni nada. Son profesionales. Marketing, HR, everything like that, okay? Financial people. De esos 750, tuvieron que agarrar 500 de ellos y mandarlos todo partes de Estados Unidos para trabajar como cocineros. Porque hay un shortage de trabajadores. Wow. Think about that, guys. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
They're literally paying for the hotels and everything they get because they don't live in these places. So if your food doesn't taste good at Cane's, that's why, because these guys don't cook.
I'm pretty sure they're not going to be too worried because every time I drive by Cane's, those lines are like around the corner. I don't even bother.
And it's crazy. Just last year, minimum wage in most places here in California was $15 an hour. Chipotle, I see the sign, $20 an hour for a cook in the back.
Yeah. When I graduated college, that was like a good entry to like a professional job. Like $20 an hour, that used to be considered like, wow.
That is almost $40,000 a year plus benefits and everything. Why go to college? Go work at Chipotle. You could literally work up and become a manager and make over $100K a year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yep. Like we're starting to see, like the great departure out of, traditional jobs in college and all that. That it's really not that.
You got to remember inflation. So yeah, you're making more, but everything is also more expensive. So don't get excited and start spending and
yeah.
going and all that. No, you're making this much, but get your credit card, good credit card. Get your, what do you always say, your rainy fund,
emergency fund,
and then
yes,
have fun.
And what really happens here is the rich get richer, the poor get poor, and the middle class just gets screwed over because they're the ones that are the business. Backbone of the economy. They're the people that maybe both the spouses they make pretty good income combined. It makes pretty good income, or they have a small business, but it's hard for them to go from that to wealthy. It's just super hard. They're just stuck there. They either go back down to poor, they get stuck there, but it's really affects the middle class a lot, which is, important. If you want to have a good economy, you gotta have a strong middle class. You just need it. They're the ones that create a lot of jobs. They pay a lot of the taxes too. Obviously, the wealthy also pay a lot of the taxes, but it's definitely good to have a strong middle class. Very important. Very, very important.
Yeah.
So last thing, stimulus checks. I got mine.
When
Junior
is
got
it?
his.
The 15th. It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Wow.
Mañana es el último día para hacer sus taxes 2020 para poder recibir su stimulus check. Para algunas personas solo es 600, 500, otros 1100. Wow. Imagínense, se está perdiendo miles de dólares solo por no hacer sus taxes. Por favor, hagan sus taxes. Okay? October 15th. Tomorrow's the last day. Do it. Don't wait for tomorrow. Oh, wait. There's some tax places that are probably still open. There's probably some still open. But
right. You could do it online. Like I've been doing it online for a while. You save so much money by doing it that way. I'm sorry if you're a tax person listening to us. But if you do it online, it's like super easy, especially if you just do like a regular job. You're not like doing como si you're like your own business, your own contract work. That's a little more tricky to figure out. But if you're doing it on yourself, especially if you're young, like I use the one that's Credit Karma. Credit Karma has one. It's free and it's super fast and it helps you along the way to like, oh, you did this wrong. Oh, you know what? It helped me. I actually got $1,000 more because of they actually helped me. They're like, if you put this, you'll get more, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
For free.
Yeah, and it's for free, guys. For free. Sometimes you might even pay $20, $30. It's worth it. But I mean, if you want to do it with someone tax prepared, they're not that expensive either. No. The average is like $100, $200. Unless you have your business, that's totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, so very important today, guys. Out of anything that you took out of this, save that money.
Always save that money.
Always save that money. Always, no matter what, save your money. No matter if the economy is good or bad, always save your money. Always be open to what opportunities might come. There might be a housing crash. Maybe they're not. Maybe houses go up or down. If your finances are in a good place, you'll be ready for those opportunities. And teach your kids, too, about finances. Yeah. That way, they will never have to struggle. They'll know what to do when that time comes, when they're an adult and they have to pay bills and etc. They'll be in a much better place. And do your taxes. Because tomorrow's the last day to do them if you want to get your stimulus check. If you don't care about the stimulus, don't do your taxes then.
Or do it and send us the money if you don't
care. Yeah. How about that? Do your taxes.
And just send us the stimulus.
Send Avance Latino as a donation that will go towards scholarships for students.
If you want to.
That are about to graduate high school, going to college, and we're going to impact so much, and we'll be sure to give you a shout out, all right? If you want to give your stimulus check to us, we take donations. We'll give you a receipt for your donation, and you can use that as a tax write-off, okay? So hit us up, message us, DM us, whatever it is, but we'll take care, everybody. See you guys. Nos vemos para la próxima. Bye-bye.